Hi all. So we are starting a cloud competency development webinar series, and myself, Sachin, I'm part of Collaborate Technologies, and I also have got Arvind, who is part of strategy and architecture, and have got years of experience working with enterprises. And in this series, we will be touching upon various aspects, what you need when you start thinking about building the competency within your organization, what all some of the blockers you see, what all different challenges you see. So this talk will just focus on the challenges and the various models we have, and post that in the next talk we are going to talk about how these challenges and the models can be delivered. More detailed talk we will have the next one. So, Arvind, why don't you talk about quickly some of the key impediments, what you have experienced? Probably post that I can also add what I have seen and what my experience says.
Sure. Thanks, Sachin. So cloud competency and org structure is the basic building block for any company or a particular team in that regard to move on to a very secure cloud adoption. There are certain challenges that we think about when we which when we talk about a competency development, and this is a pure play competency development, not about application development or the operational expertise. It is about cloud, where both the application operations, networking, security, everything kind of merges together, right? And that poses a challenge to the organizations. So there are a couple of major challenges which I'd like to really highlight upon, and I want my viewers to really think about that as well. The first is about as I spoke about, there's a diverse set of skill requirements for the cloud. When I talk about a cloud skill, it is not only about one particular tool set, right? It is about DevOps tool set. It is about networking knowledge. It is about security knowledge. It is about the entire holistic picture of the entire IT ecosystem, right? So definitely there is a thing that you need to think about this. Second is about the what are the buy-in from the organization stakeholders, whether it is whether is it a team-based initiative to move on to cloud, or maybe an organization-wide initiative to move on to cloud. That matters the most as well, because that is where you actually think about, that what kind of a trainings and what kind of a requirement that you have, and whom you can partner with as well. The third form, or the major challenge I see about the roles and responsibility as well, because traditionally IT ecosystems are basically in silos, like they have various departments, application development, infrastructure development, support organizations, and all those bits, right? But then if you talk about cloud roles and responsibility, it is all about like bit of everything. The fourth process is about our equipping our HR and the recruitment engine to make sure that we hire the right people as well. The entire way of hiring for the cloud is completely different than what you see in a traditional IT ecosystem. So that is another problem that I see, that is where we need to be really focused on. So maybe I think, Sachin, if you can give us your view on exactly what you have seen with your clients.
Sure. Thanks, Arvind, for giving your view on this. So, typically, what I have seen is, as you rightly said, that skill and some of the hiring process does makes a lot of sense, and it really plays a very crucial role, which actually drives your overall cloud strategy within your organization, because skill and the people are really important blocks of the whole deployment. So what I typically, the failures I have seen with a few of the organization is, at times what people does is they just bring in some of the external consultants and tell them that, hey, can you build? They will just provide some of the data, like these are some of the business priority, can you solve this for us? So it's not only the option that you bring in the external consultant. What actually you will only be able to extract the core values of the cloud once you need to have a series of discussions where you talk your, because your external consultants may not know that deeply that what historical priorities and what actually the business value you would like to deliver. So I think that collaboration is equally important when you bring in the external consultants to solve some of these problems for you. At the same time, hiring process plays an important role. Like, if you need to have clear set of priorities that if you start with the cloud, what exactly you are going to do in the cloud. Is data is your priority? Is security is your priority? Is architecture is your priority? What all different skills you already have in your bag, and what all the skills you can internally develop, and what all skills you have to augment externally by some contractors or new hires. So I think that plays a key role. Otherwise, it's you start seeing the challenges from the day one. So typically I have seen some of the models. It depends, like org structure and business priority and how big you are, and how big your migration which you are planning, how aggressive you are when you talk about cloud. So the first approach, if you look at my presentation, is distributed, where what you do is you start tactically that, you let your people go through some trainings, and, you set up central governance, you do some external hire, and you bring some of the consultants within your company, and you let the people, you pick up some of the use cases, design the framework, and you start your deployment around that. This has been successful for some of the organization, but for larger organizations, what I have seen is that COE, Cloud Center of Excellence, plays a very important role. So if you talk about your priorities, because when you are large enough, you would typically need security is your priority, data is your priority. Innovation team, you want to hire some of the people who just focus on the innovation, that these guys will specifically work on the AI use cases of the internal requirements. So COE has been pretty successful, that you start with about 15 or 20 folks, and you allocate the champions, that hey, these three guys will just focus on the security part, and they act as a central governance body, that anything and everything goes within the multiple product teams. They are going to collaborate with them, review with them. Once they approve, then only you are going to deploy that within your organization. The third one also, which is the mixed approach, has also been very successful. If you are very big and you are very aggressive, that hey, I have my target dates, I have amount of servers, I would like to go ahead with lift and shift, I will focus on the re-architecture, re-platforming, re-hosting, re-engineering part later, but first priority for me is that I want to shut my some of data centers, and I want to put everything in cloud. In that case, what you can do is probably you can go ahead, because you would need army of people. Yeah, some that time COE may not help certain longer. So what you need to do is that you build a COE, you build a team of 15 to 20 people, and uh, they are going to create more number of people, replicate more the similar skills what they carry. That within the product teams, you pick up some guys that hey, within this, for this specific product, you will be the responsible for the security, so that you can, when you talk about the larger scale, your CO is not completely overloaded with bunch of work, that hey, I have got like 30 or 40 applications just for security review, because in that case, three or four people may not help. So when you talk about scalable model, what you need to go, you need to be, either you increase the size of the COE, but again, that I mean that it all depends like how big you are. So probably you can go ahead with the mixed approach, where let your product teams pair up with COE, let them learn what they do, and then they can go and they can go back to their product team, original team, and they can start doing the what COE was doing, and let COE be there just for governance body, that let them just not do the actual work. Their job is just to review. so that the entire organization is aligned with the common goals. So this is what Arvind, my experience is. Probably you can share your views on that.
Yes, Sachin, I totally agree to the fact that these models will really work. It's about I think there is also a very important factor is about the organization structure as well, right? So the way you've been organized, that totally depends on what kind of a system and the architecture that you follow, right? So for the cloud, definitely it demands a new set of ways of working, also a new organization units. I could say that COE can be the one if you don't have a COE. So that will go a long way if you are really focusing on cloud for a long term. Making a COE would really make sense for me. So with that, I am inviting you, Sachin, for the final comments.
Yeah, so I think this has been good, that we covered some of the blockers and some of the models. So what I think for this talk, we have pretty much talked about some of the good, some of the key aspects when you start building the competency within the within the org level. Probably in next talk which we have lined up, we are going to focus more around that, when you talk about these challenges, how you can go deep dive, how you can go a little deeper on that, what all more challenges you see, and how you can solve those challenges, how you can build the COE. Because it is not just about the technology problem, it is about solving the people, process, and technology. It covers the whole circle. So there are multiple components which we are going to discuss on the follow-up discussion which we have, where we'll talk about on the how part. Yeah.
Thank you, Sachin. Thank you.
Thanks,
It was
Arvind.
a
Thanks
real
for your
pleasure.
time.
Thank you.
Bye.